Hello everyone, Timothy Deffabaugh here, Data Protection Specialist here in Oklahoma City. Just wanted to speak with you briefly about Data Domain, our Purpose Built Backup Appliance, the #1 in the world actually, and how it actually works. We get questions periodically about how to use Data Domain within the environment. So I want to whiteboard or just show you a little bit of how that data progression flows. So the first thing, of course, you have your server environment. This is just a very, very simple whiteboard, your network with your servers, and you have your backup application or your backup server, typically Networker or Avamar, and then you have the data domain here as your repository. So what happens, of course, is we're going to have an agent deployed on each of these servers in the environment, and then the backup server is going to initiate the backup. And as you can see, we're going to come over here, we're going to pull the data off of each server. I'm showing one of them on this particular example, and we're going to send that data to the backup server. And if you're using Data Domain Boost, which is source-side deduplication, this application that's on this server will be able to actually dedupe that data before we send it across the LAN. So if you have network issues throughout the day because you're not meeting your backup windows, this will definitely help with that. But anyway, so we're going to send that data to the backup server, and then we have a couple of options. Number one, you can write to tape, which a lot of our customers are doing today, or you can completely eliminate the tape backup here and send that data to the data domain. When we get into the data domain, if we did not actually initiate Data Domain Boost and dedupe that data here, that data will be deduped at the target and then written to disk. We have a feature called Data and Vulnerability Architecture, which is going to actually validate and do a checksum of that data as it comes in and validate that that data that's written to disk is what was actually sent. And then if at any point throughout the week or weeks as that data is sitting on disk, if at any point that data is corrupted for any reason, we have self-healing capabilities, which is going to make sure that when you come to restore that data, it's 100% guaranteed to be usable data. So DIA, or Data and Vulnerability Architecture, is a huge value add to our customers, and they really love that. So I did mention eliminating tape. So some of our customers actually have long retention policies. So maybe they have to keep their data for 7 years. And while we can usually keep a year's worth of data on average on the data domain, of course it's going to depend on the amount of data that each customer has and how large of a data domain they actually purchase. But we usually size for about a year on disk. And they can actually continue to utilize tape, but instead of, like some of my customers I spoke with recently, having to go to tape after 2 weeks or 4 weeks maybe, if they need to grab a file or something, they can just keep all of their data local and use the tape for long-term retention. So it's going to eliminate the headache of having to restore from tape on a weekly basis or however often you have to do that, and use a data domain for your local backups and recovery, and then tape for your 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. If you want to move off of tape, which some of our customers want to do, we have a nice feature called Cloud Tier that's built into the data domain. It actually acts as a gateway in order to connect you to VirtuStream, AWS, Azure, or any cloud that you want for long-term retention. So this is great for our customers specifically that don't have a ton of data. Even if they have a ton of data, it can be very cost effective, but usually if they don't have a ton of data with long retention policies, Cloud Tier works great for them. And the other advantage to our customers that use Cloud Tier is that we're deduping that data by 10 to 30x on average. And so when we send that data across the WAN, it's going to cost them a lot less money because we're going to send only unique chunks of that data because of variable length deduplication. So this is a snapshot of how data domain works in an environment, a very simple concept here and explanation of customers that are currently here and how we can transition them to a disk-based backup and giving them many options available to them to optimize their current backup strategy. So again, Timothy Deffabaugh here, Data Protection Specialist. Look forward to speaking with you soon.